All right. So we've been talking about Martin Luther King Day. The Martin Luther King holiday just ended yesterday. And I've been noticing that not only has the right co-opted Dr. Martin Luther King's quotes and message and twisted it in some bizarre universe in which they live to support their libertarian right-wing fascist agenda, just like they did with Jesus. Uh, the powers of corporatism are also, the corporations themselves are also taking on Dr. King's message. A couple of years ago, during the Super Bowl, Dodge, there was an ad for Dodge, the cars. It got a lot of criticism, and because it used a sermon by MLK to sell trucks, which of course, that's what he was always talking about. The arc of justice bends toward Dodge Rams. Anyway, the ad featured a section of King's speech, the drum major instinct sermon that he delivered on February 4th in 1968. And it was put over these patriotic American images, military stuff, and also images of service jobs like teachers and firefighters. I have the ad. Let's take a look. Get ready for horror.
If you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. By giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know the theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace. Soul generated by love.
Damn, those Madison Avenue bastards really know how to make a commercial to sell you something. Clearly, the Dodge Ram is not, they're not pointing at their major consumer base is the working class. And using a speech by Martin Luther King to sell a truck, I just can't even. But somebody overlaid that ad, the same exact ad, with what King actually said about capitalism and car commercials. So here it is. This is a good time.
The presence of this instinct explains why we are so often taken by advertisers. You know, those gentlemen of massive verbal persuasion. And they have a way of saying things to you that kind of gets you in the bind. In order to be a man of distinction, you must drink this whiskey. In order to make your neighbors envious, you must drive this type of car. In order to be lovely to love, you must wear this kind of lipstick or this kind of perfume. And you know, before you know it, you're just buying that stuff. I've got to drive this car because it's something about this car that makes my car a little better than my neighbor's car. And I am sad to say that the nation in which we live is the supreme culprit. And I'm going to continue to say it to America.
Am I right? Is that not great? Well, this year we saw the same thing. We saw ads co-opting the message. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is I think I have an image from the slideshow, John Carlo, that we pulled off of just like the net. There's a lot, 17 best MLK Day weekend sales for 2021. These stores are having Martin Luther King Jr. Day sales. Isn't that interesting? I mean, okay, so the weekend is the first 3-day weekend holiday of the year. And retailers tend to throw sales on 3-day weekends because shopping. But MLK weekend, I mean, it's not known in retail as a major shopping event compared to other long weekends like Memorial Day or Labor Day. And I just wanted to point, and I pulled that right out of this article, that it's not known as a major shopping event compared to other long weekends such as Labor Day, Memorial Day. Let's just unpack that for a minute. Memorial Day is just a major shopping event now. That's what it is. You get a day off. Occasionally there's a parade and a wreath laying, and then you move on to shopping. It's the same with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is like gluttonous eating and then shopping and shopping and shopping. And, MLK weekend is Labor Day. Labor Day is about fighting for the rights of workers. It's not just a day off that caps the one end of the summer. It's been cheapened and destroyed and disgustingly pasted over by shopping, which is all you're supposed to do after 9/11 happens, and all you're supposed to do in order to celebrate the birth of Christ or whatever, it's pretty soon. MLK Day weekend will be another shopping weekend, unless we can keep the spirit alive, as these folks were doing that we just, that we just saw. I also saw some right-wing co-optation of Dr. King's message that I'd like to bring to you today. The right wing talks on Fox News and some of these other crazy towns. They talk about how King would have loved their share, their love of capitalism. Okay, so this is not accurate. Okay, this is what King said about capitalism, and I quote, "Something is wrong with capitalism. Maybe America must move toward a democratic socialism. We must develop programs that will drive the nation to the realization of the need for a guaranteed annual income for all," which is when's the last time you heard on Fox them quoting MLK with what is actually said, other than the one quote that they use over and over? Giancarlo, let's play the MLK in his own words segment. The first one, it's the Beyond Vietnam, but not the greatest purveyor of violence one. It was the one before that.
Compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring. A true revolution of values will soon look uneasily on the glaring contrast of poverty and wealth. With righteous indignation, it will look across the seas and see individual capitalists of the West investing huge sums of money in Asia, Africa, and South America, only to take the profits out with no concern for the social betterment of the countries and say, "This is not just." It will look at our alliance with the landed gentry of South America and say, "This is not just." The Western arrogance of feeling that it has everything to teach others and nothing to learn from them is not just. A true revolution of values will lay hand on the world order and say of war, "This way of settling differences is not just." This business of burning human beings with napalm, of filling our nation's homes with orphans and widows, of injecting poisonous drugs of hate into the veins of peoples normally humane, of sending men home from dark and bloody battlefields physically handicapped and psychologically deranged, cannot be reconciled with wisdom, justice, and love. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death.
Oh, gosh. Leonard Pitts Jr. of the Detroit Free Press put out a piece today that I think everyone should go Google and take a look. The title is "Conservatives Attempt to Co-op MLK Fall Flat." where he outlines exactly how the conservatives think, and the opposite of what MLK is the opposite of what MLK thinks. He did that quote about something is wrong with capitalism. He also talks about how MLK would probably not be in line with condemning reparations and affirmative action. And then the quote he gives from MLK is a society that has done something special against the Negro for hundreds of years must now do something special for him in order to equip him to compete on a just and equal basis. And, the Fox News, they're always out there talking about how MLK would be on their side. And the viewers and the network itself does not believe in white privilege. MLK says whites, it must be frankly said, are not putting a mass effort to re-educate themselves out of their racial ignorance. It is an aspect of their sense of superiority that white people of America believe they have so little to learn. Pitts also points out that unlike the right wingers, MLK definitely would oppose the filibuster, would be happy to end it. His quote, I think the tragedy is we have a Congress with a Senate that has a minority of misguided senators who will use the filibuster to keep the majority of people from even voting. We are living through the same spiritual and same historical times that Dr. King lived through. And I hope that we can put up the same kind of fight as a group, as a nation, that the people of his time were able to do. I'm Julianna Furlano. Coming up on Thursday, we've got Ben Burgess on the program. He's going to do the headlines with me. And then John Nichols is coming on to talk about the importance of those progressive candidates that I've been showcasing here on the program. I hope you enjoyed our coverage of the MLK rallies and some of what's happening around the corporatization of MLK Day and weekend and making it into a big shopping holiday. They're looking forward to it. I am not. I'll see you on Thursday. You're watching Act TV.